Students to be more independent this year so that you're not running around putting out fires, answering 9 million questions every single day and leaving the day feeling burnt out, I have some ideas for you. Anytime you're asking students to do independent work, leaving an exemplar or an example or some sort of like success criteria, something that can anchor their learning, something they can refer to while they're doing their work that can really help them be successful. Number 2, that kind of goes along with that, is I set a timer in my classroom that is strictly independent work. Like, you cannot ask me anything during 5 minutes. Like, you can try for 5 minutes without my help. Like, you can get started, especially like some people comment like, well, what if you have students who have accommodations? But like, you meet those accommodations, but if those accommodations are met, then they should be able to work independently for 5 minutes by themselves. So I set that expectation from the get-go. You cannot ask me anything within the first 5 minutes of independent work. I put a timer up on the board, and typically some of those questions naturally resolve. Number 3, and probably the most important tip that I will give you, is how I respond to the questions when they ask them. So when they tell me, they raise their hand and they're like, I'm confused on number 2, I just can't do it. I always respond with a question. Well, what do you know about number 2? Well, I know that it's asking me about main idea. Okay, well, what do you know about main idea? What is main idea? I think it's like what the text is mostly about. Yes, how do we find main idea? I can go back and look at the headings. Okay, perfect. And if they don't know, if they're like, I don't know how to find main idea, well, what could you do if you don't know? Right? So I always ask more questions. I try to give them a resource. I never answer their questions. So if they're like, oh, I don't know how to add what's 3 plus 4, right? Well, how can you figure that out? Where can you go? And that leads to tip number 4, which is teaching them to use their resources. And so this is one that takes a while because you really have to train your class on how to do this, because I want them to be able to use their teammates to help them and not just use me. But sometimes when we ask a teammate, the teammate just gives us the answer. And that's not what I want. I want the teammate to explain, to provide, a resource information to the student without just giving them the answer. And I do training sessions on this with my students of like, what does it look like when we help our peers, and how do we not just give them the answer? And then also, like, number 5 or 5th tip is just like working on your persistence in your students. Like, you're gonna have to build their persistence stamina up. Like, they're not gonna be persistent at the beginning of the year, especially if they just sat over the whole summer and didn't do much. Like, you're going to have to continue to pour into them and tell them, I believe you can do this. You can do hard things. You can try this. You can do it, right? Continuing to speak that into them every single day, and then giving them the tools to be able to do that, is going to lead to so much more independent success.